All right, welcome back to our course on first principles thinking. This is chapter 4, and today we are getting our hands dirty with a skill that will completely change how you tackle challenges. We're talking about the process of deconstructing problems. Let's jump right in.
You know that feeling, right? When you're staring at a problem that feels like this giant, tangled knot? That feeling of being totally stuck, not even knowing where to start? We have all been there. And that feeling of being overwhelmed, well, that's exactly what we're going to conquer today.
The way we do that is with a technique called problem deconstruction. Now, that might sound fancy, but it's really just a systematic way of taking that big, messy problem and breaking it down into its most basic, fundamental pieces. The whole idea here is to stop accepting problems at face value and instead dig all the way down to the foundation to find some really innovative solutions. So, here's our roadmap. We're going to tackle this in 4 key phases. First, we have to deeply understand the problem. Then, we'll break it down into smaller, more manageable parts. Next, and this is a big one, we'll challenge our own assumptions about it. And finally, we'll rebuild a brand new solution from the ground up. Let's get started with step 1. Okay, step 1, understanding your problem. And let me be clear, this part is absolutely non-negotiable. You simply can't solve a problem you don't fully understand. Think of this phase as building the foundation of a house. If you get this right, everything else we do will be so much easier. So how do we build that solid foundation? By asking some really sharp, focused questions. You have to get super specific. For instance, it's not enough to say sales are down. You need to ask, what exactly is the problem? Is it a drop in new leads, a lower conversion rate? And who's affected by this? Just the sales team? The whole company? Getting clear, honest answers to these questions is the absolute essential first step. Awesome. Now that we have a crystal clear idea of the problem, we can move on to step 2. Breaking the problem down. This is where we take all that complexity and start turning it into clarity. We're going to take the whole thing apart, piece by piece. The first thing you want to do here is identify the key elements of the problem. Think of them like the main ingredients in a recipe. So if the problem is low team morale, the elements might be things like management style, workload, or communication. But just listing them out isn't enough. You've got to figure out how they interact. Is that heavy workload caused by a certain management style, or is it a totally separate issue? One of the best tools for this is the 5 whys. It sounds so simple, but it's incredibly powerful. You just state the problem, and then you keep asking, why? For example, our customer churn rate is high. Why? Because new users aren't finding value. Why? Because our onboarding process is confusing. You just keep digging deeper and deeper, past all the surface-level symptoms, until you hit the real root cause. Now, as you're breaking all this down, it can be really easy to get lost in the weeds. I mean, there are a lot of moving parts. That's why visualizing the problem, literally drawing it out, is so important. Creating a map of all the components and how they connect keeps everyone on the same page and maintains that clarity we're looking for. 2 really powerful tools for mapping are flowcharts and fishbone diagrams. Flowcharts are your go-to for process-related problems. They are fantastic for showing you exactly where the bottlenecks are. Fishbone diagrams, on the other hand, are amazing for brainstorming all the possible causes of a problem, helping you group factors into categories like people, process, or technology. Okay, so we've defined the problem, and we've broken it down. Now for a step that, honestly, requires some real intellectual guts. Challenging your assumptions. This is where we have to look in the mirror and uncover the hidden barriers that might just be in our own heads. And that leads us to this really provocative question. Are your own beliefs the real problem? It happens all the time. We come to a problem with these baked-in assumptions, Oh, that's just the way we've always done it, or our customers would never go for that. A lot of the time, those beliefs are the single biggest roadblock to finding a great solution. So how do you actually put your assumptions to the test? Well, first, just list them out. Write down all those unspoken rules you have about the problem. Then, for each one, ask yourself, is this belief based on hard evidence, or is it just a tradition? Is it a fact, or is it just a feeling? And maybe most importantly, how is this belief limiting the kinds of solutions you're even willing to think about? And all that hard work brings us to the final and, frankly, the most creative phase, rebuilding an innovative solution. We've torn the problem down to its foundation. We've cleared away all our faulty assumptions. Now it's time to build something new, something better from those first principles. This is really where the magic happens. It takes genuine out-of-the-box thinking and, this ability to innovate from the ground up It's such a valuable skill in today's world. In fact, it's a core focus in many of the technology and business courses we offer at the beventure.com Academy. Now, the reconstruction process itself is actually very structured. You don't just leap at the first idea that pops into your head. First, you generate multiple solutions. Don't hold back here. Then, you evaluate each one. How feasible is it? What's the potential impact? You pick the most promising one, and you test it with a small-scale pilot project. And the most crucial part is that last step. Iterate. Use the feedback you get to tweak, refine, and improve your solution.
And this quote just hits the nail on the head, doesn't it? At the end of the day, the whole point of deconstruction is to take this huge, overwhelming challenge and break it into pieces you can actually manage. Once you do that, the path to a clear solution suddenly opens up.
And just like that, you've made it through. Congratulations, you've successfully completed Chapter 4. You now have a really powerful framework you can use to deconstruct and solve pretty much any complex problem that comes your way. But hey, don't stop here. The journey isn't over. I really hope you'll continue on to Chapter 5, where we're going to explore even more ways you can apply first principles thinking to come up with some truly groundbreaking ideas. And to really help all of this sink in, make sure you check out the supplementary materials. We've got quizzes to test your knowledge, detailed notes, and a full infographic for the entire course. You can find it all at beventure.com and through the link in the description. Thanks so much for learning with me, and I'll see you in the next chapter.